Welcome back to our product testing series here at Snaptron. I'm Kyle Goodrich, Applications Engineer here. Today we're going to be looking at this professional grade racing simulator steering wheel, and specifically we'll be taking a look at the paddle shifters on the back. So these are really important to having a great tactile feel. So we're going to characterize the switching performance of this particular application so that you guys have a better insight on how this would work. So here we have our brand new Sapphire unit. So we're going to plop this down right on the test plate, right over the top of the paddle itself. Press measure, it'll go through the force displacement testing of that particular switch, and it'll generate a graph of that switch characteristic, as well as some quick data points here. For this, you can see that it has a maximum force of 1,600 grams with a tactile ratio of 31%. That's a pretty stout switch, but considering that you're actuating it with multiple fingers, it provides a great balance between force and feel. See other things, it's great so far. If you have any questions specifically on the Sapphire or other testing questions, feel free to leave them in the chat there, or if you're seeing this recording after the fact, go ahead and put them in the comments and we'll address those as soon as we can.
Do we want to do one more test, since that was really quick?
Mm-hmm.
I think that sounds good.
You want to do a different switch or the same one on the other side?
Engineer's choice.
Engineer's choice, okay. Let's see here. We can try to do the linear switch. This is a very long travel, so it might give us some problems, but we'll see. So we'll readjust the height of the head here and fit the taller switch underneath it. Drop it down to where we can get the stroke correctly. We will switch it over to non-tactile test. It's a good way to show that you have a lot of flexibility in your testing parameters here. So I'm going to switch it over to a very high end force here. Switch it back over to non-tactile. Let's see what we get. As you can see, it's going through the entire stroke of that switch. It's a linear switch, so there's no tactile response to it. However, you can still characterize the force and displacement of that linear switch on the Sapphire here. Looks like we maxed out our travel here, so I'll just lower that down a little bit. Let's try that again. With such a long displacement, it's collecting a data point for every 100th of a millimeter of travel. So as you can see here, it has a very linear response all the way up to the end, and that's where the test maxed out, and that's where it ended. So we have a maximum force here of about 1,300 grams at the end of that stroke of that linear switch, and that's a really smooth response you can see there. So it's a great way of showing the versatility that you can characterize not only tactile switches and snap domes, but a variety of different switches, including this potentiometer style switch here.
So one of our viewers wants to see the first switch again being tested.
Switch? Yeah, perfect. Throw that back on there. Throw it back over into tactile test. Hit measure again. Not doing a great job of holding this down, so that's why it's thinking for a second. There we go. So this one, so you have a maximum force of 1,451 grams with a tactile response of 35%. So that is the numbers or the feeling of the switch quantified on the Sapphire unit. So you can get a lot of insight on this. You can do a lot of prototyping and comparing and contrasting different tactile feels and forces to really dial in the end user, customer user experience to either most closely emulate a real life race car steering wheel or for any other purpose that you might want to tailor it to. So
Why are switches like Snaptrons important in things like racing steering wheels?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, like I said earlier, you really want a solid tactile feel while you're in the car, while you're driving, so that you know exactly when and how you're shifting the vehicle at critical moments. When you're entering a turn, exiting a turn, you want to be at the precise right gear to get the most power out of the vehicle onto the ground. So having a really great tactile response is critical, so you know exactly when you're shifting. Not to mention the high reliability of our switches. You know, our switches are rated up to 10 million cycles, so you never have to worry about that switch failing in a critical moment there. So they're really important for critical applications like that.
Awesome. That's great information. Do you want to wrap this up for us?
Sure, yeah. If you have any product ideas that you want tested on the Sapphire, shoot them in the comments. We'd love to try out some new stuff. We're always coming out with new videos. If you want information on the Sapphire, go ahead to snaptron.com. We have plenty of information there. We have lease units as well as purchase units. And these are really great for any prototyping or any lab that you need. So join us again on our next video, or live in this case. We'd be happy to see you again.
All right. Thanks, Kyle.